friends, it's Paige Evans, and I have a new process video to share with you today. This was made for the Pink Paislee blog using my new PickMeUp collection, and as you can see, it's featuring a lot of pretty flowers. So I pulled all of my silhouette cut files that I thought could work for this design. I used rolled flowers 1 through 5, so there's 5 rolled flowers, flower garden background, a branch, a deconstructed version of the flower vase, and the flower cluster cut files. And then I went through the PickMeUp collection and I grabbed all the blue papers, all the yellow pattern papers, and all the pink, purple, and red pattern papers. I cut the rolled flowers from the pinkish pattern papers, also purples, and I sized the rolled flowers to fit into 4-inch squares. And I cut 10 of them. And to assemble them, you start at the largest end, or the end that's on the outside, and roll it up, and then I use a little bit of hot glue to keep everything in place. And then I like to add even more a realistic touch by bending the petals. So I'll show you one more time how to assemble one of these rolled flowers. Start at the end, roll it up as tight as you can. Well, it doesn't need to be tight, because once you get to the end, you want to let it go a little bit. Let it loosen up. Add a dollop of hot glue, smush it into place, and then spread open the petals. Since this is double-sided, some of those blue pieces were showing, so I just bent them back the right direction, and good to go. So here I've got some of my flowers and leaves ready to go. I'm picking a background, thought about doing it on this dark blue paper, but I like how it pops off this pink pattern paper even more. This pink pattern paper can be found in the 12 by 12 paper pad, which has gold foiling details. So you can see all the polka dots have that gold foiling. In the regular 12 by 12 pattern papers, it's a white polka dot, but I love the gold polka dot. So I cut some larger flowers, solid flowers from pinks and reds, and again I'm curling up the edges for more dimension. I cut some flowers with open centers from yellow pattern paper, also bending up the edges. And then I'm going to place the rolled paper flowers on those larger pink solid flowers to give them a more solid foundation, a firm or colorful base. And it kind of makes them look a little bit larger. And I want these to be the focal point of the flowers. And this is the pair of photos that I've decided to use. These were taken just very recently. Jane and I were chilling on the couch and she was snuggling up on me, and I am soaking in these moments because I know they're not going to last forever. I die cut all of the branches and leaves from the blue pattern papers, and then I also cut smaller versions of the same leaves from smooth white cardstock. So here I am roughly placing the flowers and leaves, just trying to get a general idea of where I want this big old flower cluster to be on the page. I also am curling up the edges of all the little flowers to give more dimension. So I cut the entire flower garden background from paper 10, which has all those squares of patterns, because I love how there are all those little sections of little flowers and little leaves, and those become the perfect things to fill in all of the gaps. Again, I'm just going to start placing the flowers, and I'm not adding glue until I am sure of the placement. And this is where, oh, here I am using a pencil to bend up the flower petals. That's another option to, that's a different way to go. Instead of using your fingers, just curl the petals around the pencil. Makes it a little bit smoother too. So I was saying, camera phones come in really handy for this because I took pictures along the way, and I would move things around, take another picture, and then compare photos. And if I liked the placement of something better, I would move the flowers back. That blue flower right there has a whole bunch of different parts, but again, I'm just placing it right there as a placeholder to see if I like it there before gluing anything down. So it's really messy right now, but once everything is glued in place, I'll make sure to put it together nicely. Yeah, so all those little bits and pieces from the flower garden background make the perfect fillers for these gaps. Finally, I decided I liked the placement and I'm going to start adhering everything down. I used a mix of adhesives from glue dots to foam squares to liquid adhesive. It kind of just depended on how big the little flower was. For the leaves, I mostly used the liquid glue because they were more intricate designs. So everything was adhered, and then I decided to fill it in even more. Since there's gaps and I had teeny tiny pieces, I decided why not? Let's just keep going. I could add to this layout until I could go all the way to the edges, but I kind of went with a flowing look, starting from the bottom left, going to the upper right corner. Yeah, this flower garden background cut file is perfect for all the little tiny leaves and flowers. There's even dots. But at some point, you just have to call it good. Since the background is so intricate and colorful, I decided to keep the embellishments to a bare minimum. All I did was add Love and Today chipboard stickers at the bottom of the photos. I adhered them in place with some dimensional adhesive, stuck them right down there so they're slightly overlapping, and then I finished it up with the journaling. So I always write it with a pencil first to make sure I like the placement. I decided not to journal on those two bottom longer lines. I just kept it right in between the chipboard words. I went over it with my favorite .03 black precision pen from American Crafts, and then I erased the pencil lines. To remove the pencil eraser bits, I use a paintbrush just because my fingers can't get into all those little gaps that the stuff goes. And that is my finished layout. I hope you are inspired to create a dimensional and pretty floral background using PickMeUp. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon.